What's up, boys and girls? This is Spit Logic, and today I want to go over just some of the things that I've discovered and some of the things that I've seen when it comes to the SP-404 MKII. So, full disclosure, since I've gotten the Mark II, I've barely touched my DAWs. I have probably opened them just to kind of look at and rehash older songs that I've had, but really all of my music production has been on the MKII since I've gotten it. It's really been kind of a wild ride. But with that, I'm finding that I am now being kind of limited because I'm very comfortable with using the MKII, but I'm also limited in just some of the instrumentation that I want to implement and just some of the nuance or the variants that I would like to try to emulate in the songs in my head to emulate it and in my opinion, that software just kind of gives me that freedom to be able to do that. So I guess the question for me is, how do I leverage just the power between the Mark II and Logic Pro in order to make the kind of music that I actually want? So I'm going to just preliminarily go over some of this stuff. I haven't been able to do a lot of deep diving into it, but I wanted to share just my first impressions on the interactions between the Mark II and the computer. So first off, I use a Mac, so I'm using Logic Pro on here, and typically the Mac automatically installs most drivers when you plug something in. For some reason, when I first plugged this thing in, it was not able to see it. I did download the SP-404 Mark II program from Roland that Roland gives, and after I downloaded it, it was able to see it. So I don't know if it was just me, if it was just something with my computer or maybe the connection or the cable that I use, but it wasn't able to see it until after I downloaded the program. So I would suggest you download the program anyway. So we're going to start off with the USB-C that is located on the top of the Mark II. So I already have this connected to my computer. So I'm going to just go ahead and connect this into the top. And then automatically you can see the moment that you connected, if you look up in the corner right here where the volume is, typically that volume is black, it's in bold, and you see it's kind of gone gray. If you click on the volume, you'll see right here SP-404 MKII out. So it is now a part of the system audio, which means that out of my MKII, let me just open one of my old videos. If I open an older video and then I hit external source, and typically I like to check, so shift and external source just to check, and it'll show you the routing is a mix. So I'll just hit escape to get out of that. That means it's coming through the USB-C as well as through the phonos. And if I just play a video, the video is played through there, right? What's up, boys and girls? This is Spit Logic, and today I am out and about. And one thing that you can do, which I just find amazing, and I actually spent about 30 minutes watching YouTube videos through the MKII. It's the same as any other audio input. So even though I'm sitting here talking, I can
do is just
add
a
an
little
effect
crate right now. I'm gonna hit up a few places. I use my dandy Mark portable record player just so I can sample some of the music that I listen to, and we'll see what comes about from it.
So as you can see, this makes your Mark II an audio interface. Let me just repeat that. Your Mark II is now an audio interface. So you can input audio from your computer into your Mark II. And you can record that audio onto your Mark II. Now, Not only can you use your Mark II as an output for audio, but it can also be an input for audio. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to open up Logic Pro. And then here we'll just open up a new file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go with audio, right? And you can see right here under the library before you open up the audio track, under audio input, it has the Mark II. Even under output, it has the Mark II. Of course, you could change that, but I'm going to create the track. I'm going to leave it as the input and the output for the audio. Now, this is the strange part, or the thing that you have to kind of be aware of. If you have it as the input and the output, you're going to get yourself kind of a feedback effect. So if you're going to use it as an input, make sure that external source button is off. Okay. Now it's an input, and you can see right here where the audio is ready to intake information. It's ready to intake some sort of audio. So what I'll do is I will give it some audio, right? So if I hit this, you can see right there, it is currently recording the audio. And even if I sit here and record it, you'll see it's recording audio. Okay, so if I stop that and if I go back and play it back, let's say I play it back, but I want to put the external source on to listen to it, I can do that. And it plays it back. Okay, so let me take the external source off. So I've just discovered that the Mark II can be your audio interface. So the two inputs, the inputs that you have on the top, the two audio inputs, the mic/guitar inputs that you have at the bottom, those all can feed into your DAW and act as your audio interface. Now, that's all fine and dandy, and that's actually pretty awesome. But this is another thing, and I'll say this, I've maybe seen one other video that discusses this, and I'm not sure if anyone else has even tried to, or if it's just not enough of a big deal for people to make a video about. But let's add another track here on Logic Pro. Let's go with a software instrument, right? Okay, so I'm gonna just pick just a basic, let's go with a key, let's go with bells, okay? Not only is the Mark II an audio input and output device, but it is also a MIDI controller, right? So if I hit the keys, go for the external source. And right now, what I'm doing is I am using blank pads on here. So it is directly aligned with the keys here, with the pads here. So in my head, I'm thinking, crap, then how the hell am I going to use this without accidentally stepping on, another pad? And at first I thought, maybe I go to a pad that is clear, but if all my pads have something on it, then it would be very hard for me to do, right? However, the solution I came with was I hit a blank pad. All I need is one blank pad. You hit the shift and the chromatic mode, and you go into chromatic mode. So this gives you a few options here. Not only do you have, of course, the ability to do what you want to on these pads without worrying about any samples, but chromatic mode, if you turn the inner knob, it allows you to do different octaves. So I think it only goes up only a certain amount, and I think that's pretty much the end of it. But I just, again, I'm literally blown away with the dexterity and the, just all of the features on this particular device. So we've already gone over it as an output. You can record directly into it through your computer. We've already established that you can record audio into it as well. And now, especially with the chromatic mode, you can use this as a MIDI controller in order to play your electronic instruments. And not only is this just a MIDI controller right now, but remember, I have it on external source. So the sound coming out of here is coming through my Mark II. I can record my MIDI controls, my MIDI instruments directly into the Mark II. So how would I do that? Let me hit escape. I would hit the resample button, right? And it's asking to record. I'll just hit one of these pads. And then it's asking me to press pad to start. So I'm going to go on my blank pads. I'm going in chromatic mode, and from here, right, I hit record, record complete, right? So I escape, and on this pad right here that I just recorded on, that is the audio. It should be the audio from when I played it on the same audio that I just played on here. Okay, so we've established a couple of things. Not only is this a MIDI controller, this is a MIDI controller, and it can record what you play through the DAW into the Mark II, at least for Logic Pro. I'm pretty sure if it's Ableton or Fruity Loops or something like that, or what is the industry standard one? The industry standard program that everyone uses, Pro Tools. I'm sure there is probably a way to do the exact same thing, but I'm just a little blown away, or just, to me, this is amazing, and I'm surprised I don't see a lot more people making videos about this DAW to Mark II interaction. I see a lot of people with other actual synthesizers that connect it through the MIDI, the two MIDI ports, but this is actually a MIDI controller without using those two little mini ports that are located on top. So what I'm going to quickly go over, and I haven't done a lot of exploring with this particular app, but I want to go over just some of the features that I've noticed with the SP-404 MKII program. So you download it from Roland, and as you can see, the moment that you open it up, it is asking you to connect to the SP-404 MKII. So click connect on there, and what's going to happen, and you're going to see it come up, it's loading all of the different banks and what is going on as far as the programming is concerned. So Project 2 is opened. It's showing all of the different pads that I have in Project 2. If I click on a pad, you can see the actual waveform, and you can see right here I haven't truncated this particular audio clip, right? So if I hit preview, it'll play it directly through the Mark II, right? So this is a very interesting way of doing the import-export portion without having to go through the actual device. You could actually connect this to your computer, and you can import and export samples as well as projects from your Mark II into your computer. So I'll quickly go over that, right? So let's say, and again, this interface is everything that you can do on the Mark II is replicated on this program as far as I can see. So I have Project 2 open, right? And if I click export to PC, right, you can export Project 2. You can export any of them. And you see right here, access to files, right? Now, where would I like to put it? Music. I think I already have a let's just put it on the desktop. I'll just put it on the desktop and I'll choose there, right? So user Spit Logic desktop, that's where it's going to be saved. And that's going to be project number 2, right? So if I hit save, it's going to export the entire project. And this is a very easy way for it to do. And you can see it working right here, but you also see right there that new folder just popped up that says Roland on it. And that's kind of what's going to happen. It's going to create a Roland directory. And then you're going to see once it's done exporting, I'll show you the files on it as it's a direct replication of when you do the export feature using the Mark II. Okay, so you see it's complete. I'm going to go to the folder, and then the folder is going to say SP-404 MKII. You open up that folder. This is Project 2. Now, one problem that I have using this Mac, the format that the audio files are in, this SMP format, I can't preview it, I can't play it. It is specific to the Mark II. So I've done a little bit of searching to see how I can play it, to actually preview it. I think it would be very helpful to be able to preview these so I could pick and choose what samples out of the project I want to do. But let's just take, for example, let's go on the Mark II and let's go into Bank D. And you can see Bank D, you have these right here, but these up here are blank. So you also see on my computer screen, if I go to Bank D on here, it's the same things, right? And these right here are blank, right? So if I take this sample and I drag it to this spot, and you see on the Mark II, processing. And now you see the actual loop here, right? So if I hit preview, right, on my pad, and you see once I hit the start in, you can only work from one of the two. So the waveform came up here. If I hit exit, now the waveform shows up here, because here you can literally manipulate it in the same way that you would be able to manipulate things using your knobs. So I haven't really gone into the patterns or, this information here on the right as far as the specifics on it. I think as time goes on, I'm going to attempt to look at this information and try to get a better idea or a better way of utilizing it. But all in all, I think this is just an amazing machine, an amazing device, and this interaction between PC and these connected devices, I think it kind of solidifies or allows for people who want to make that transition either way, whether you want to go from Beat Machine to using DAWs or the other way around. This is just a a perfect blend of the two. Anyway, that's all I got right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you have any pointers or anything else that I missed, I know this was just a very broad stroke, but please let me know below in the comments. Thanks again, and until next time, peace.